Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Orchard Report. I am your host, William Trout, excited to talk all things Buffalo Bills and their victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. So let's jump right in. Again, I am your host, William Trout, and I'm excited to be with you today to discuss the Buffalo Bills taking down the Jacksonville Jaguars in this year's 2026 wild card playoff game. And they did prevail over the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-24 in a absolutely incredible game that was back and forth and came down to the wire. Uh, Josh Allen did have an incredible game, throwing 28 completions on 25 passes for 273 yards, one touchdown, and then 11 rushes for 33 yards and two touchdowns. Just an absolutely incredible performance, doing everything he wanted to, looking in control the entire game, making throws that were just incredible. The one on the sideline to Brandon Cooks, and then also the one at the end of the game for 36 yards to really put us in prime position to take that lead. Looked in control. Everything you want to see out of your MVP quarterback, and shows why he's considered the best quarterback in football, especially this year. So, just in general, he looked incredible. He did have some injury scares. Had three different ailments throughout the game. He was hit in the head early on, which he had to go to the tent and get checked out, which he came right out. He also hit a defender's helmet when making a nice pass on the right-hand side. He followed through and hit a teammate's helmet, which he got checked out and was also okay. And then also on that touchdown run where he ran through like two or three linebackers, I think he hyperextended it maybe on either Osiris Torrance or Spencer Brown, or some type of like weird bending of the knee. And thank God he was able to come out of those, mostly unscathed, and was able to continue playing and obviously lead us to victory. So just an incredible performance by our MVP, and something you love to see in the playoffs, because if we're going to go for it all, we're going to need him playing like this weekly. So some more quick hits. James Cook was held largely in check. It is well known that the Jaguars have a very good run defense and just defense in general. So it was going to be some uphill sledding. He did have some nice runs, some nice chunk runs, and we didn't get away from that run, which was nice because you want to stay on schedule and things of that nature. But just in terms of box score, he didn't have a great game. I think he only had like 33 yards. So definitely something we can look forward to, next week, is maybe some more output from James. I wouldn't consider that a traditional, as we know, or a common occurrence from him. Khalil Shakir had some incredible catches and plays. He was targeted 12 times and caught all 12 balls. Had a crazy catch over the middle where he had to reach behind himself and catch it and brought it down. And then also that 3rd and 9 conversion where he took the little short screen and did a little spin move to convert on 3rd and 9. Just some clutch plays, everything you want to see out of Khalil Shakir, making plays behind line of scrimmage, but then also looking great down the field, running actual routes, which I think a lot of Bills fans want to see. Get him a little bit more down the field as a true wide receiver. He did it all in this game, so just looked really great. Brandon Cook showing some good rapport with Josh with 3 really big catches. We all know about the one late in the game on the last drive, I think for 36 yards, but the one that on the sideline where he got the DPI and still was able to come down with it for the 12-yard catch was just a great play. And you can just see how he's really integrating himself into the offense, and he seems to be bringing out a confidence in Josh. I know not to jump all the way to the end, but at the end of the game, Brandon was really hyping him up and getting in Josh's ear, and I loved to see that. Kincaid, I know he's been injured, but he did come in for a big touchdown on that fake screen to Shakir, and then over on a wheel route to Kincaid on that left-hand side in the corner. That was really, really cool, and happy to see him get involved after being kind of banged up. So hopefully I know he's limited this week. We're hoping we can see more of that in Denver this next week. And then also, I know I spoke last week how we signed Matthew Wright and that Prater wasn't practicing. But all in all, he was able to come out and have a perfect game, going 5 for 5 with kicks from both 50 and 45 yards. I mean, what can you ask for from the old man? I mean, he just is consistent, and I just have a confidence when he's back there kicking the balls for us. So just was so happy to see Matt Prater out there and hoping he can continue that going into this next outing in Denver. And then as far as the turnover categories, we did, we're mostly clean, but we did have the one Ray fumble, which we can't have those. I mean, in these types of games, we can't have lost possessions on special teams plays like that. But all things considered, we know he's a great kick returner, and I don't foresee that happening again. And then as far as the defensive, just a massive stop when we did have that turnover to turn around and then have the turnover on downs on the 4th and 2 on Trevor to stop him when he was diving for that. Shaq Thompson, he got him down just by the skin of his teeth, but just what an incredible play by the defense and way to step up when we really, really need it and kind of bail out our special teams there. And then right off of that, we go for 92 yards and score. So just having that complementary football and that complementary mindset when we're playing, I think is really good, and it's something that if you keep stringing those together, that's how we're going to win games, doing things like that. And unfortunately, we did see Poyer go down in the game and replaced by Jordan Hancock, who largely struggled. He was targeted a number of times, and it seems like every time they were making chunk gains to Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, etc. So we might have to try and pivot off that going into the next game in Broncos. I don't see how we're going to try Hancock back out there. I'm thinking, bring up Cam, or not bring up, but put Cam Lewis in his spot if needed, or just some other individual. We could even have someone like Darnell Savage that we picked up off waivers a couple weeks back. And then if it really comes down to it, we did activate DeMar Hamlin. So there is a chance that maybe he comes back and plays, but the jury is still out on that, and we'll have to see. Another small concern was just the ability for Jacksonville to get to the edge running the ball. I really thought that when they did those outside runs, they were having a lot of success. And I know that's something throughout the year we've had struggles with, but it is something I kind of want to see an emphasis on in the next game. I know that Joey Bosa had a quote that he said he needed to play better, and I agree. I mean, the play where he just got absolutely destroyed by Jacoby Myers on the edge, it's like we can't have that from our guy that we were really looking to make plays for us. So hoping that we can see Bosa pick it up, and just the defense in general on those outside runs. Luckily, the Broncos don't have the most formidable run game, especially with J.K. Dobbins down, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. So hopefully we can look a little bit better there, and that is the goal. And then lastly, just talking about the game with the victory over Jacksonville, I did think Josh had a good bit of pressure on him. He only took one sack, but in general, I did feel like he was, having to really maneuver the pocket. So that is something I want to keep an eye on, in the sense that Broncos have an incredible pass rush, Nick Benito and company. So we're really going to have to make sure we're on our P's and Q's as far as like our pass protection plan and how we keep Josh upright. So just something I want to make a note of. So overall, it was a great game. Just a really fun game to watch, back and forth. The Jaguars were a super, super hot team. And I honestly, going into it, I wasn't too sure, but when you have Josh Allen on your team, everything's possible, and he showed why he was the MVP. And he is our Orchard Report MVP Player of the Week. So, I mean, just can't ask for anything better, in my opinion. Next up, we'll talk the game this Saturday, January 17th, against the Denver Broncos, which will take place at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It does stink that we're coming off a short week. Obviously, you would love to have been able to play Sunday and get an extra day of rest, especially with some of the injuries that we've got piled up. But the NFL doesn't care, and they don't care what you got going on. They're in it for the money, and we're just gonna have to prove them all wrong. We're gonna have to do what we got to do, go take care of business on this short week. They do have a good quarterback in Bo Nix, young quarterback, who can, I think, be very volatile. He can have some really incredible moments, especially late in games, but then he has moments that just make you say, what in the world are you doing? So I think with a defense that, and Sean McDermott, we all know that he likes to disguise things. He likes to show you something pre-snap and then flip it to something post-snap. I think this is the type of game where you can really make something happen off of that type of philosophy, in the sense that he is still a young quarterback. There is the propensity to make some boneheaded plays, and with our ability to be opportunistic, I really think that there could be plays to be had on the defensive side of the ball to kind of flip this game on its head. And this will be a game where we can really kind of turn up the schematic juices and see if we can't make a big play. So I do think Bo Nix is a good quarterback. They do have good weapons on the outside. In general, they obviously have a good offense, but I do think that's an area, even though he's shown some flashes, that we could potentially get a turnover on him. J.K. Dobbins is on IR, and he is injured, so their rookie R.J. Harvey will be kind of the bell cow for this game. They haven't had a great running game, but it is something they can be explosive, and R.J. Harvey does have the ability to spring one if we're not careful. So we really need to, like I said, on those outside runs, try our best to kind of set a wall, really kind of set that edge, funnel things back inside where we can get help, and hopefully we don't allow them to get that big play. They have a stud wide receiver who's been in the league a long time in Cortland Sutton, who is not widely considered one of the absolute best wide receivers, but is just a very consistent wide receiver who's always really just shown up for them. So it's somebody that we're going to have to, as best we can, take him out of the game and make the other guys beat us. They do have, a multitude of weapons, but when it comes down to it, this is the guy that you look to and say, all right, if there's somebody who's going to beat us, it's going to be Cortland Sutton. So he's definitely the name to look out for. And then they have one of the best defensive leagues, as I alluded to earlier. They have a great pass rush. They have the best corner in the football in Patrick Surtain. They have wonderful linebackers, super beefy up front. So, just in general, they're widely considered one of the best defenses in football, and we're going to have to play with that in mind. We're going to have to play smart, like we did last week, kind of, limit the opportunities where they could, make a negative play or turn the ball over. So we just have to take our check downs if the play isn't there and live to fight another down. So I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be interesting. I really think I almost think this is a better matchup, weirdly enough, than the Jaguars was, because I just don't think their offense is as potent. And then on defense, we still have Josh. I'm hard pressed to think that they're just going to completely shut us down. They're going to make their plays, of course, but I truly believe with Josh Allen and the squad that we'll take care of business. So that's a little bit of a look forward. I do want to do a quick injury rundown. This past game, unfortunately, we did lose both Tyrell Shavers and Gabe Davis to season-ending ACL injuries. Just absolutely brutal. Shavers was actually able to play, I think, 20-plus snaps in the second half with that injury, and it just shows you his toughness, and, man, we're going to miss him. But next man up, like they always say. Nobody's going to feel bad for us. We gotta keep chipping away, and then hopefully with the guys that we got, we can make it work. So I really feel for those guys, and just hope that we can get it done for them. Prater is, like I said, back and practicing this week. He didn't practice today, which is Tuesday, but he is going to be kicking this week, and the plan is for him to be ready for the game. And then for the big news of the week, Ed Oliver is back at practice. He will be practicing this week, so there will be a chance that we get him back on the defensive side of the ball, which could be a massive boost, as he's probably our pound for pound our best lineman and somebody that can just make a really big impact. And then also Curtis Samuel is back at practice with that elbow injury, so he was on IR. He is now back, and it's a good timing with all the injuries at wide receiver. Um, so maybe we can get a long touchdown this year like we did last year in the playoffs. That would absolutely be a welcome sight. So Maxwell Hairston did not practice. Kincaid is limited at practice. Milano is limited as well, and so is Gregory Rousseau. So we're definitely banged up. Josh, as we know, is limited but is expected to play. Those are the big names. Everything else is going to be something where it's just going to be more like injury management or something of that sort. So I think it's going to be a great game. I really do think that the Bills are going to pull it out. We've got the experience. I know it's a short week, and I know we've got injuries, but it feels like the team on a mission. It really does. And I think it's going to be a fun game and something where something special is going to come. I truly believe it. I think the way they've played, the way they presented themselves, and the way that things have gone, I just truly believe that we're gonna get it done on this Saturday. So happy you joined us on this week's episode of the Orchard Report to talk the Buffalo Bills' victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars and the upcoming game over the Denver Broncos. I'm hoping for the best, and I'm hoping that we get to come back to this episode or this show next week, talking more Bills football in a fun fashion with a victory Monday behind us, and then another game to come. So yeah, just so happy y'all are here for another episode of the Orchard Report. Again, talking all things Bills. We're going to be here weekly throughout the season. I know it's about to come to a close, but it is hopefully not this week. So I'll be here to talk once the season's over, after the Super Bowl. We'll talk draft and all the other fun things, but just excited to be here and share my passion for the Buffalo Bills with all of you, and hope I can bring some value to you and your fandom. So thank you again for checking me out, and we'll see you next time on the Orchard Report.